Good afternoon, everybody. Uh, we extend our warm welcome to you all on the virtual platform of the Regional Science Center and Planetarium Calicut. Here we are celebrating our 24th anniversary and rolling out a program that will culminate into the 25th anniversary on 30th January 2022. Uh, since one of our major facilities here in this science center is the planetarium, and planetarium forms an important part of our activity. We decided that in this program we will have a component that primarily concerns the planetarium. We are very much thankful to have distinguished panelists for this panel discussion we are arranging now. We welcome Dr. B.G. Siddharth, DG, BSc and Planetarium, Hyderabad, Mr. Piyush Pandey, the planetarium expert, Dr. N. Ratnashri, Director, Nehru Planetarium, and Dr. Pramod Galgali, Director, Jain Planetarium, Bangalore. I have with me, I'm Manush Bagchi, and I have with me my colleague, Mr. Jayant Ganguly, who will moderate this session. We welcome you all, the panelists, our distinguished panelists, and we also welcome the viewers who are here. This program will also be relayed directly to our YouTube channel, rscpcalicut.virtual, and you can also see it through our Facebook Live presentation. With these words, I hand it over to the moderator, Mr. Jayant Ganguly, who will roll on this panel discussion.
Thank you, sir, and welcome all of you to our panel discussion. And it is we have planned this discussion as a part of our anniversary celebration, 24th anniversary celebration, which is rolling down a year-long program for the 25th anniversary, that is our silver jubilee next year. And we have a panel of distinguished panelists. We have now, Dr. B.G. Siddharth, who is a chief guest and the chief panelist today, because there is a historical reason also. Thing is that our first planetarium show, first three-show planetarium show, we actually got it from Hyderabad Planetarium, and Astounding Universe, Secrets of the Universe, and Visitors from Outer Space. So these three shows, with that actually we started in 1997, and after that we started developing our own planetarium show. So this program was conceptualized because now it is a pandemic period, and schools are closed, visitors are low, and many of the planetariums are not functioning. But then now what is happening is that the trend of planetarium is changing. Most of the planetarium has a digital component as a part of it, and many of the planetariums previously they used to have the optomechanical projectors, and with their 35 slides. Some of them used to use CRT projectors to project some movies, and after that actually people started integrating digital projection system for rectangular projection or fisheye lens. We also did some sort of that, and now actually with that multi-blended and stitched full dome projection system is the talk of the day. When we say now most of the planetarium have that. So digital planetariums are mostly available in many of the ESO sites, and people can download and actually project them directly. And many of them are creating that. But then making a digital professional planetarium show demands high training in the animation technologies and VFS technologies, and many of these technologies which requires full-fledged personals from these backgrounds. And digital planetarium technologies actually still now are not yet so mature that we get perfectly clear sky and with back contrast background in most of the projection system, which matches the optomechanical. So the onus turns to actually having hybrid planetarium shows in planetarium, which can be actually tailor-made and developed through the planetarium themselves, depending on the requirement of the region, because the planetarium as an institution requires catering demands of the visitors who visits them. So in this regard, actually, I would like to request Dr. B.G. Siddharth, Director General from Birla Science Center and Planetarium, Hyderabad. Sir, you are present? Are
Yes.
you there? Yeah. Sir, can you please share your some experience regarding how you actually Hyderabad Planetarium, because we also got some components from you initially, how actually Hyderabad Planetarium was doing its own shows, and nowadays what is its status, and what do you think about the focus of the present planetarium from your vast experience in the field? Can you just share your thoughts, and if you want some slides, and we actually allot around 10 minutes per speaker, because we want to restrict this program to around 1 hour. So sir, kindly speak for some time, and if you want to show something, you can share it. Please, sir, it's yours. Stage is yours now.
Thank you. I have been in the planetarium field from 1966. And over the years, I have seen a lot of change. Change, not just technological, but in viewers' expectations. That's equally important. Previously, we could have a program like Rashis and Nakshatras, show the sky and identify the various Rashis and Nakshatras and so forth. But with the passage of time, people demanded more. The newer generations demanded more. And that more can be satisfied by a hybrid planetarium, not just the old type of a planetarium, optomechanical, but also with something like the Digistar Throner, which gives moving visuals. We can do a lot more with a Digistar, come optomechanical, than we can only with one of them. So that's how we have been operating now for some time. And we find that what the younger generation wants is something, I would say, even science fiction will go with it. So we have not done science fiction because that would be too radical, we thought, but we have come pretty close to science fiction, touching it. This is what the younger generation wants. And if we have to keep up the momentum of the planetarium movement, then we have to satisfy the younger generation, particularly school students and so forth. For example, roughly 1/3 of our visitors are school children. So they want something exciting and not just something that is descriptive and boring. So this is the new mantra. Integrate the usual planetarium, optomechanical, with something like Digistar, and have full dome clearance. However, as our I would say anchor has mentioned, it's very difficult. It's not easy at all to make animations, and it's very nice to go and see them, but it takes a lot of hard work. Fortunately, Digistar itself provides a lot of help, and then it's good to have somebody who's specialist in programming and all that, who can bring forth newer and newer themes. So we have been doing this. We are still a bit young in the hybrid systems, but a hybrid is the best, with the optomechanical giving the true starry sky picture, and the Digistar giving the various animated graphics. So I would say that this is the future, at least for the next maybe 5 to 10 years. Then I foresee that Digistar itself will become very good in terms of even the sky. Right now, that is their weakness. The sky is not the best. Hence, the hybrid feature comes. But if Digistar can give a beautiful sky like an optomechanical system, it's difficult. It's technologically quite challenging. Then I think we will have something like a digital planetarium system carrying the whole thing through. So these are my observations.
Do any panelists have any questions to ask to Dr. Siddharth regarding whatever he has suggested, or whatever are his views? Any type of queries to him?
Dr. Siddharth, about the new trends which are there now for the last 10-15 years and future as well. You were mentioning that hybrid would be the best. However, in case of certain situations arising, the alternative may be digital. I actually was that the point which you had mentioned. I just wanted to put in a plug for hybrid, which I probably will be doing when I'm speaking also. In terms of the star quality that we have with the optomechanical star, it's true that for a lot of the very exciting content, it is digital which is necessary. Digital would be sufficient in all. It's only in terms of the inspiring star fields that I think, as you had said, the reason we go for hybrid is that. So actually, because my hearing is a little bad, I was just wondering whether I had caught your point correctly.
Yes, more or less, that's correct. You see, the optomechanical is not very exciting. The range of visuals and moving visuals we can show is limited. In the olden days, we used to have slides and the dissolve unit where one slide would go and another would come, or an all sky. But these were all sort of static. In the digital world, we can really get some of these things moving and creating something interesting.
And Dr. Sridhar, one more thing, I have an observation that initially we used to have shows like Magic of Night Sky or our solar system, but now the trend of shows are changing. Like we are having shows in the form of say astrophysical type of shows like collisions or a journey through the center of the black hole or something like that, which is more astrophysical. So what is according to you should be the prime focus for a should it be like a digital cinema, like where you show rendered graphics throughout, or you have to have a component of sky in the show itself, probably in most of the shows? What are your views?
Yes, a component of the sky is really the magic of a planetarium. But what you're saying is also a very important factor, and that is what we are trying to do. That's true. Black holes, new generation, they demand all this information, graphics, visuals, all this they demand.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else? Any questions from other persons present here or other panelists?
May I interact?
Yeah, please, sir, come. Please, sir, you may.
Yeah, I have a few things to say. First of all, my first experience of planetarium education, which began with Nehru Planetarium, Mumbai, was
Piyush, you also not audible.
not audible. What do I do? I have done everything possible. Not audible even now?
We can hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay, okay. So my first experience itself was a hybrid experience in the sense we had this Mark IV planetarium of projector of Nehru Planetarium and auxiliary projectors all around. Our engineers, Keskar and now deceased Mr. Bhave, they were so nice with their fingers that they could operate everything together. When I came to Allahabad, it was a transition for me. It was a very small planetarium called ZKP2, 8-meter dome, but it had come with a card, a PVC card, which had got ribs on it, and you were supposed to cut the rib, and as the rib will be sensed by a finger or a micro switch, during its travel time of 45 minutes, it will actuate some function of the projector. We found it to be so crude and so inaccurate, we rejected it the first day, and that is when I designed my what I call now auto star system, which worked very well for Allahabad Planetarium, and it was devised in 83, and in 86 I had the opportunity to present a paper on it in conference in Vienna. But when I went to Allahabad again as some other official in 2011, I was so happy to see that the director, Mr. Pramod Pandey, and engineer, Mr. Mittal, had kept it so well that it was functioning at that time.
One minute. Can I interrupt? I think your session we will start within 1 minute, but this session let me end Dr. Siddharth's session, which was directed at question. So, so formally, I have to actually introduce you. So,
Okay.
yeah. I think anybody has any direct question to Dr. Siddharth?
Okay.
I think, okay, then we can move to the second speaker.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much for joining. We understand you have another following meeting.
Yes.
So if you wish, you may kindly log out. So thank you so much for joining in.
Thank you. Very
Okay.
nice program.
Okay. So our second speaker is Mr. Piyush Pandey. He is a planetarium expert, and he is one of my mentors also. I learned the basics of planetarium from him when I was in Birla Planetarium, and he was also there. And sir, can you, because I saw you working single-handedly about many of the projects, you yourself did many special effect projectors, and ultimately you have developed shows. And in fact, in Bombay Planetarium, when you were there, you have developed a hybrid show. So it was good. Then what do you feel about the current trends? Whether we can actually, what are the ways actually now planetarium should be guided to make their hybrid show, and what are your views regarding hybrid show?
Yeah, I have some. Yeah, thank you, Jayant. First of all, compliments on your 24th anniversary of Calicut Planetarium.
Yeah.
And secondly, giving me time today to attend this conference. So I'm sorry that when I was, because my computer had rebooted from the, I joined in the beginning and then I had to reboot it because I was unable to connect the video. So I'm using my mobile phone for that. I was not aware what was going on. I thought that was my turn to speak. So I have already told you about the Allahabad story, that when I joined it back in 2011, I found the automation system that I devised working very well. What I'm trying to say is the concept of hybrid or fully digitized and purely automated is slightly, these lines are really blurring. The early day hybrids were those places where the addition of video was an afterthought. And there what was happening, not sure what is the current position. What was happening is you do the skywalk, you should use the main projector for the star ball for showing the stars. That is one part of the program. And then you jump to the other program, which is either your own video which you have produced, or it is, in more cases, it is a video that you have purchased off the shelf from some vendor, and you find a different narrator now for the second segment. So I'm not really, I do not favor that. I'm of the belief that technology should never dictate what your show should be, what should be the flow of your show. This should never be dictated by technology. Your show theme, in fact, you should give the idea of show theme to a person who is not aware of the projector, how it works, what all you have. He should develop a beautiful theme, some story, and then it is your job to show that story, to visualize it with the help of stars, and the video projectors should come only as theme enhancements, theme enhancers. So that's my belief. So I would say there are three kinds of hybrids. One is the pure hybrid where one part doesn't speak to the other part. Second is where you have added and done something which I did, devised a system which can control both. And the third is what you have, Jayant. You have a very good integrated hybrid system where the stars are there and stars come from the star ball, whereas the video comes from the array of video projectors which you have arranged around the alcove. That's the best. And both are seamlessly controlled by the same projector. So what I'm trying to underline again and again is the technology available should not dictate what the show should be. It should not be a two-segmented show. Jai Hind. Jai Hind. I'm done.
Piyush ji,
Yeah.
if we are permitted for interventions, no, then-
Please
Yeah.
ask. Please.
Yeah,
I
finished.
actually
Yeah,
like your statement that the technology does not dictate the story we want to tell.
Hmm.
The story we want to tell has to come from,
I didn't
from
say
our.
does not. No, does not. I said should not.
Should not. Point taken. That's actually very right, because the technology has been changing over a period of time, and now we don't know which all directions it is going. It's even going into the personal planetarium kind of those AR VR kind of direction. Technology will keep changing, but the stories we want to tell, in a way, they remain universal, although their content may get upgraded time to time. So I mean, I really like that point what you have said, that it is the story we want to tell. Technology is only our support.
So one more thing here, I would just like to give a comment regarding what you have said. It is highly correct that technology should not be the only criteria for development of planetarium shows. But then we should have one more. We have to take into consideration about the visitor part also. That because we have to get visitors. For example, if you make a show on say dark energy or something, which may not be actually palatable to many of the visitors, because like a product, if you treat it product and process, the process of development, what I feel is that is a combination of product, people, and visitors and technology. So
it's up to us though to make it palatable. That's our job to make.
Was it Jayant speaking?
yes, sir.
Yeah, Jayant, my take to that is the certainly in case of dark energy or some other exotic themes, the show will get dominated by the video content. But in any planetarium show, which is not esoteric, which is meant for the general crowd, general public, you must have skywalk and then bring in your theme.
But this trend is changing
at appropriate time by bringing the video content.
Most of the planetariums are directly purchasing shows and showing it directly. So what do you tell about it?
That is where I had the advantage. I designed all my shows, even though we had imported ones. Then we beautifully integrated them with the skywalk. That is the technique. That is the technique.
Sky is necessary. Yes.
Skywalk must be essential part of all the shows. And in digital, you have one advantage. and one disadvantage. Advantage is you can pull a star, you can go toward it, you can play with the star data, the database, and you can walk toward it. That's one advantage. The other disadvantage is the stars are not that stellar quality, right? But I would say that if a show is being made on a very novel theme like dark energy or even black holes sucking matter into them, you can bring such a thing at an appropriate time.
Now, there are shows like Passport to the Universe, and these are quite hit shows worldwide. They are quite famous. What do you say? That
Which show, for example?
yes, Passport to the Universe or Life in the Universe. These are all some of the shows which are commercially available and which are worldwide quite hit.
Baba, but they are 22-minute shows. 22-minute show, and normally a presentation doesn't go more than 45 to 50 minutes. In 22 minutes, if you show a video in a foreign accent and then something done with your local narrator, how do you club them? That becomes very jarring.
Yeah, and we have a comment from Dr. Ravi Kiran. Dr. Ravi Kiran, can you say what you are actually writing in the chat box? Can you unmute your mic and speak out? Are you there?
No idea.
No audio. Okay. What he has written is that in case we show a 20-minute digital show, we add 15 minutes star show, we combine both, and we have only digital system. Yeah.
He's right, and this is what we have been doing in many places, including Bombay. But later in Bombay, we started doing our own 45-minute integrated seamless show. Nowhere a producer some big company made video was played all through. What we would do, of course, Jayant, it requires so much of rendering time, etc. What technique we used was sometimes we will splice out of there, take portions of the video. There is a technique available where you can fast forward and bring it to a particular place and play that section of video. So by using that, you can have a very good quality video, which is blended with your hide and seek in the sky was one program which I made in Bombay, which uses this technique, and so many others.
And regarding special effects, in which you have a vast experience, you yourself have developed so many special effect projectors, and the digital systems have come and actually overthrown those special effects. So what do you think that whether digital simulations and the type of things which we had previously, whether one is equivalent, both are equivalent, or what are your views regarding that?
Well, there I am sorry to say, Jayant, that the days of that Narona wheels and motors and projectors are gone. And digital has so beautifully replaced it. Anything you demand is possible with those. And these are the vector graphics they use. They can create various kinds of effects. So definitely there is no need of
those gadgets anymore.
I think there is some message from Ravi Kiran. Can you read it for us?
Yeah.
It popped up. Yeah.
What he has written is that we made 3 shows: Land of Midnight Sky, 37 minutes, Solar System, 37 minutes, and now making one program on Eclipse, 38 minutes, Kumbh Mela, 21 minutes, Friends Star, 20 minutes. So the duration of the show is varying. So there is no, is there any standard? Because normally what we find in Calicut is a 25 minutes take from the patients of visitors. Beyond that, whenever we put a show of 40 minutes, I have seen people walking out from the planetarium.
Bombay people have a different threshold of patience. They could endure over 45 minutes.
Yes. We have done show and discussion for 2 hours.
No.
Many times. But that is for special groups.
Yeah. Okay, so then thank you for your suggestions.
Mhm.
You be online, but anyway, thank you for your suggestions and whatever comments you have given. And we are looking forward for your interaction with other panelists also. And next we have online is Dr. N. Ratnashri, who is the director of Nehru Planetarium, Delhi. She has a vast experience not only in planetarium production, and she is very much involved in astronomy education throughout the country. She came to Calicut also as a part of solar sun program and Bapu Khagol.
Yeah, enjoyed it.
Yeah, yeah. So, ma'am, what do you feel about the recent development of hybrid planetarium? Whether you have developed anything in your planetarium and how you did it? Can you share some of your thought regarding that?
Yes, yes, I'll do that. I was just trying to share screen, but it is not allowing me unless I do entire. So I'll just do that very quickly. I just have, just because I wanted to. Is it visible now?
Yeah, it is visible.
So I just wanted to make a plug for the hybrid setups, and here are actually I may have missed a couple of other shows we did, but a list of shows which we have done. See, we had a hybrid setup built for, set up for us, and it was done as a turnkey project by the National Council of Science Museums, and we had a hybrid setup at that time. And before that, of course, we had an optomechanical setup, and we had done a number of shows. And some of the shows actually we pulled out again. Of course, we have evergreen, always solar system. But I think the Jantar Mantar show was also, we had an earlier one which we pulled out. We had one for Chandrayaan 1 in the earlier setup. Now, in these setups, because the discussion came about how a difficult topic, how do we deal with it, and so on. So our inaugural show, for instance, was this Subramaniam Chandrasekhar. That was the centenary year. So we made this, and we made a couple of other difficult topic shows, and I'm working on one now. The thing is that you're right that when people come, what are their expectations are primarily what we have to think of. And for the most part, people, when they come, they want to know about the solar system. And that, we have heard several people mention that. So, of course, this is one show which we have to go on and on updating. And our last update was actually when Pluto was demoted. So, we have to make one more update of that. But when we deal with a tough topic like this, we have a system now which is completely integrated. And this was the only show where actually the optomechanical stars came up at the end, and the rest of it was just digital because our vendors made the visualizations. I did the scripts for every one of these except for this, which Dr. Raghavan. No, this also we did a new one. And the thing is that, for instance, when we did the Subramanian Chandrasekhar show, I just took up one particular, just the Chandrasekhar limit. The rest of it was biographical material. But Chandrasekhar limit itself is such a difficult topic, when we are putting out to the public. But it was built up bit by bit. And stars were also bought in. So we started out with Subramanian Chandrasekhar on his ship to England. And over there, then from there we came to the stars. From stars jumping to how do we understand about stars. And we had some kind of comic characters called a Loma star and a Haima star who jump about around. And then bit by bit it was built up. The star is collapsing under gravitation. So what is stopping the gravitation? The different steps at which. So overall, I do feel sure, that it wasn't something which totally public would have had rejected. Sure, some people may find that a little bit of that topic was probably not what they would normally encounter when they want something very light-hearted. So, but it is, it is feasible if we don't take up too much of that kind of content. And the plug I wanted to give was for a hybrid one. And now all the other shows which we have made here and a couple of more are thoroughly hybrid, in the sense that we generally have stars from optomechanical whenever we can, and all the support comes from the digital. And because we have a very high contrast ratio system, it is possible. I think I have a slide somewhere where we have my system is giving some trouble. I have a slide. Yeah, just today our staff captured. So these are the optomechanical stars, and that's the digital. And because we have a very high contrast ratio, optomechanical stars are able to live with the digital. So that is how we are able to use these. And of course, this is all the digital. This is the entire digital universe, which we have used in many lectures and so on. We have also involved students in actually putting up cutting edge data into the dome. So this is the GMRT TGS's first release data put by one of the students here. That's in our setup. This was actually given as a challenge. One research presentation in the Astronomical Society of India. We made it as a 20-minute show, but of course, this is not for public. This was for students, which was made. And this one, of course, has gone into the public show on Gandhiji's interest in, as you were saying, Jen, we actually came to your place too, and we did this Bapu Khagol Mela based on Gandhiji's interest in astronomy, which lasted for a few years, and of course, always in the background. And again, very heavily we use the stars. We had there is a statement by Gandhiji when he is actually pointing out the Orion constellation. So we had an image of Gandhiji close masthead and put it opposite to Orion. And so it was, I mean, that show I think has come out really very beautifully. I just wish it was possible for me to kind of work with all of you and put it in different planetary. So when Mangalyaan was launched, when actually orbit insertion happened, we put this show. When Chandrayaan, again, this was to have, by launch, we put this up, a show on Jantar Mantar. In all of these, this is kind of entirely, all of these shows were done single-handed by me. All the visuals, everything. I used only what was free available and also what was in our system. As Piyushji was saying, it is possible from the digital content which our vendors give us, we can cut out pieces, small pieces. So, and they have also allowed us to do it. After seeing the way, I mean, I have been using so much of it in the system, they gave us some more of digital content like this. So it has been possible to do many of these shows, and of course, quite a lot of free content is also available. Sure, very jazzy content, like, you know, maybe like I do see in some of the commercial productions, like maybe flying over the Great Wall of China, or I mean maybe some kind of drone footage in full dome. All of these are dream content which we may not have so free. But nowadays, even some of these possibilities are increasing. So it is possible. It is very much possible for us to have very high quality content in hybrid format. And my final thing which I wanted to say, in case I'm overflowing my time, please tell me, Jayanji, is that for all of this content, digital is absolutely essential. We do need all kinds of digital supports to bring this content alive. On the other hand, one may think that optomechanical is not needed. True, we can get stars and everything from digital. However, if we look inside, we sit in a theater, we look at the star field, in digital, we will think, yeah, this is correctly done. This is correct. Fine,
Yeah.
this looks fine. But if we look at a optomechanical star, a single star, we will feel this is a real star, which we don't with digital. All of us know that. And people, I should stop now. Jayanji?
Yeah, we will have you can continue after we discuss, all of us discuss something. Mr. Piyush Pandey, sir, please tell whatever you want to comment.
Yeah, thank you, Ratna. I just want to add to what she said. In Nehru Planetarium, Mumbai, when this idea of splicing videos from the original piece came to us, first we did it ourselves. Later, a better idea came to our mind. We prevailed upon the supplier of the video, that means the Evans and Sutherland Company, to give us the Dome Masters. Now, Dome Masters are JPEG sequences or TIFF sequences of the entire show. They are still images. So what you do, you take them to a rendering computer and select from frame, say 5,000 to 6,000. So you got just 1,000 frame clip ready, which is devoid of any audio. So this is how you should insist on your suppliers for Dome Masters, the image sequences, and they come in huge terabyte hard disk, but doesn't matter. That was all. Thank you.
Yeah, but however, if we actually pick up pieces of the program themselves, then we can kind of like slice it where we want, use the audio if we want, not use the audio if we want. So like for instance, if there is a supernova explosion sequence, I keep the sound. And once the sound of the supernova dies down, then remove the sound and continue. So the video usage direct is also in a way has its own uses. Dome Masters also have their uses, both.
The point I'm making is this, that if you edit a video, then you have to, after editing, you have to render it again. So there is a generation loss. But if you create the video from images from whichever segment you want, then there is no generation loss. It is a first generation video. That's the point.
Okay. But actually, what happens, Piyush, is that since we are running hybrid shows now, so we are not actually running rendered ones. We directly run from a program in our setup. So it will depend, of course, what we are doing. So we are not using a kind of a slice program at the end. We are running a program, computer program to run the show, in which these cut pieces can be added. So then the same, we don't have any loss because
No,
of
but
that.
those pieces, are those pieces being shown all over the dome or in a segment only?
No, all over the dome, and the full dome pieces, full dome pieces.
Pieces,
But of course, there is one disadvantage to what we are doing here. But
that
we
is the point. Yeah,
any
that was my
we-
point. If you compare your edited video with the new one which you have, the original one, you will find a uh, uh, loss of resolution.
no, not in our dome. We don't. In our dome, it looks very. I mean, very good, professional.
Nice.
But the
Good for you.
disadvantage it face is that if we want to give it to somebody else.
Yeah, in this point, I would like to intervene. I would like to say that one of the problems, for example, if in-house development, which is when we compare it with films, is that the portability. So when we make a planetarium show, if we want to, for example, if you make a digital planetarium show, it is highly portable. But in hybrid planetarium show, because it is dependent on the instrument as such, portability gets very much restricted. So in this regard, what the panel has to say, maybe madam, you can also say, or this yeah.
If I could, I would like to put one point, if it is okay. Wherever we have hybrid, the portability will vanish in any case. The moment we have hybrid, but all the hybrid shows, for instance, which I have made, can be remade as digital and then transported somewhere else.
That
But
is
if
like
they have to use as hybrid, they have to do it.
it is like reinventing the full show again. You have to code it fully.
Little bit, not too much, just the stars part. But the thing is that if another planetarium wants the shows that we have, it is best to actually do it in their system using some of the resources. Because if it is hybrid, if it is not hybrid, we can just take out Dome Masters and transfer, no problem.
Yeah, and one more thing, that in the planetarium shows which you have already shown in the slide, one of them stands out in the sense that you have shown a show on radio pulsars. And most of the shows were restricted to the inner solar system or solar system. So these two classes of show, we would like to know that how your
Okay. Let me just tell how it was received. To tell you the truth, actually, this particular show was the first one I wrote after I came to the planetarium. So I had done this back in 1999 or 2000. At that time, of course, I was still just a researcher who had stepped into this. So at that time, the way I had written it definitely would not cut the mark for a public show. However, the first half of it still ran quite nicely. I mean, all our staff were saying. The second half became technical. But I redid this after 2010 when we had our, and then I built it up step by step. And it has run. And we have not received any grave complaint about it or anything like that. And it is quite a nice, enjoyable one. And one of the things which now I do when I'm writing the shows, and which is that I first think of what are the enjoyable kind of visually, how it will come alive first, before I think of my sentence. First, think of how visually it will come alive. So that way I find that now shows are coming out. I mean, compared to the earlier ones I had written, the more recent Chandrayaan 2 and the Pulsar ones are, I'm quite sure, because they were done totally free, of course, hardly any other additional visual. A little bit of jazzy visuals could be added to it, but I feel that it could, make the grade in terms of anybody wanting to use it.
Now, one more point is that, see, you spoke about the script writing for a show. Now, when we do it in optomechanical or semi-hybrid or whatever it is, and when we used to have special effect projector, this aspect of script writing was quite dominated by, you speak something and you show an associated visual to keep the association.
Yes.
But then there are recent shows, like we have one show which has run very successfully in Calicut, and it is developed by Peter Pop. It is called Realm of Light. So in that show, actually, the amount of words which are used is very less,
Yes,
and
yes, yes.
mostly it is through actions and graphics which they have conveyed the full thought. So how relevant is a script compared to the modern planetarium show? What is
Actually,
your
I mean, should I say, or was,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
was
you
there
can.
other input? See, the thing is that we want to tell a story. So at some stage or other, probably there would be some words necessary to convey what we want to do. But yes, in these modern systems, we first think of the concept that we want to convey. And the first thing probably after that we think of is how we are going to convey it audio visually. And then we come to the words and keep the words to the minimum, but where they are necessary, of course they would have to be there. So it is not no longer a script, it is a kind of an interwoven narrative which is going on. So all of those, in fact, nowadays whenever I'm developing a show, I first put in little bit piece of buttons of what is it that is going to happen. I just have the thought of what should the content be. Once I have the visuals a little bit in place, then I actually put the actual words through.
Pandey, sir, what are your thoughts? Can we hear something from you regarding that?
Well, I was wondering when we were talking of this portability, I was wondering whether there could be something like PDF. But I believe in most of the systems where you have the video projectors present, and as Ratna already said, they can digitize their entire dome presentation. So that means an MP4 or MPG format can be created. So once you have the MPG format, there will be a little loss in case of stars, but the videos will be as beautiful as the original. So portability, if people talk to each other, those who want hybrid shows from one planetarium to other, I think this issue can be resolved easily.
Yeah.
We should all also start thinking in terms of the possibilities of maybe 5 years ahead or 10 years ahead, dome casting. So where we all talk to each other live inside the dome.
Yeah.
We should move in that direction.
Yeah, but that will require at least three
Good
or
internet
four,
connectivity, of course.
yeah, 3 or 4 cameras, right?
No, I mean there could be just like we are having hybrid system. There could be hybrid ways of putting the content out in the dome, but we are talking to each other. It is feasible.
Okay, ma'am.
We will have another meeting just about that.
We will. I have to intervene. Actually, the next speaker was Mr. Pramod Galgali. Whether you are there, sir? No, I think he has phoned me that suddenly he got a meeting and he will join sometimes during the meeting. So I don't know, up till now he has not yet joined. So I will go to the next speaker, Mr. Manas Bagchi, who is also the curator and project coordinator of Regional Science Center. He has taken up the charge of the center 2 years back, and he actually, before coming here, he was in Central Research and Training Laboratory, which is the research hub of National Council of Science Museum, and he was actually very much instrumental, and he himself developed the portable small planetariums. He worked on the portable Tara dome. So and how it means actually, sir, can you speak about how it actually impacted the society and how it is catering to the adding to the planetarium as such, and where there is no planetarium, only science centers or schools are there, how this small planet thing works, and how can it be used with some video projection system like an hybrid system, whether it can be developed in such a way. Can you speak on that?
Well, first, to clear out the whole scenario, I did not develop the portable planetarium. The portable planetarium was developed in US by one Caltech student who later on formed a company called Star Labs. We in NCSM had an understanding with the Star Labs that we shared their design, and we indigenously developed it. I mean, the technology was copied, but we indigenously developed it, and that was done by a team when it was being led by our our Director General, once Director General, Dr. Mr. I.K. Mukherjee. At that time, it was developed. I worked in this project and I ran this project for quite some time. And during that period, we made a few changes here and there, a few developments, but its basic structure was not tampered because I find it a very robust technology and very useful too. The biggest advantage of this technology, what I reckon, is this, that even though our bigger planetariums are fantastic and they are equipped with many things, compared to that, the portable planetarium is just a bare bones skywalk with a little bit of movements here and there. But the basic difference in terms of learning, I think there can be an advantage in this because my experience is when I go to a big planetarium, it's a very nice, cozy environment, a nice full dome video is running on, and sometimes mostly the voice is recorded, audio is recorded, or even sometimes when there is one narrator for this whole show, he or she is mostly invisible in the darkness, and everything is very esoteric, everything is very exotic, and it's a nice environment to sleep as well to a large extent, and many of the people have seen who enjoy it, who take it as a pleasure-seeking device. But if you really want to get them involved, particularly for the student groups, I would say, then getting the narrator near at your hand, getting the educator there is a big advantage, which is possible in the portable planetarium, and where the programs are essentially developed in that way that every time you have to interact. And since with this planetarium, or rather with the portable planetarium, you do not have this burden of running it viably or running a commercial setup as well. So I think you are at liberty to dedicate it to education completely, and that is possible. That is why I consider it to be more of an institutional planetarium than a public planetarium. And secondly, yes, the digitalization of this planetarium technology is possible, but a little difficult, because the digital projectors always demand that their projection distance would at least have a minimum magnitude. Lower than that, it pixelates. So even though there are some projectors which can be used, which has been used with single fisheye lens, also this has been used, and this has also been integrated to some extent, but the integration is not complete because the bare bone minimal mechanical rather, the projector that is used in portable planetarium, that does not have any control mechanism. It is only a few mechanical controls that you can control by your hand, and it is not directly connected to the digital system. So it's more an onus on the educator there, who can mix up his or her stories and accordingly place the digital component and the mechanical component. So the hybridization has to be on the educator and not on the system that way, if you have to make it hybrid. So far so good about the portable planetarium, but if I'm allowed another window of opportunity, I'd like to reflect upon a few of my ideas about the bigger planetarium things as well.
Please go ahead, because you were there with the Science City during that. They had a program called Hide and Seek, which was a very beautiful, good program. And well, you were.
It is not only the program. I have certain other issues. Suppose what Pandesa told, I would tend to agree with him to some extent, to a large extent, I would say, that as a visitor, when I go to a planetarium, I do not really expect that I will come out after seeing a movie. So even though collisions of galaxies are interesting visuals, interesting calls, but when I come out, if I don't know about the positional astronomy a little bit, as a customer, I'll feel that I have not been fully served. So a skywork for a planetarium would be a must for me.
So what, according to you, is the difference between dome theater and a planetarium?
Dome theaters and planetariums, if you technically speak, both run on the same system and they have been amalgamated, but they are different, and they're even technically speaking, their reflectivity issues are different. Their projection criteria should be different. So ideally, if your institution can afford, you must have one dome theater and one planetarium. But if you cannot, I have seen such systems. I've seen such arrangements in some very famous science centers. But in our country, it might be a little difficult. I've mostly seen it in Canada. In our country, it might be a difficult proposition because of the financial reasons. But if possible, I think that would be a very good option. And in those hybrid shows, I'll always prefer to have a hybrid system because of its Starfield presentation. And I told you that as a viewer of the planetarium, if I come out without seeing this skywalk, I would feel a little disappointed. But when I'm working as a professional in the planetarium, I think there are certain things that we should take into consideration. Number one, I have seen in many places the planetarium consoles and planetarium system either have been purchased or have been sold without any development console, on the assumption that the users mostly would be users only and not developers. I think as planetarium professionals, we need to develop this skill where we should be able to develop certain of our programs. But while doing so, at the same time, I would say that yes, I have seen many of the hybrid planetarium programs being developed by many areas, by many planetarium and in many places. But I'm sorry to say its visual aesthetic appeal always has been below the mark. It is because it is mostly using the stock shots, it is mostly using the stock artworks, which should not be the case. On the contrary, we should develop our skills so that not only just developing the timeline, but also making high quality, very well thought out and very nicely blended graphic and artworks by us ourselves. It's possible. It will reduce cost. It will also align us more towards what we think. And while doing so, nowadays it is possible to work with the special effects professionals who are also working on cinema and creating similar kind of effects from the scratch, from zero. I'm not saying clip it out and develop it, develop on it. That is possible. But even from the scratch, developing animations, developing mats, color mats, developing certain special effects, this is possible. This will be costly. Of course, this will be costly, but less costlier than the ones that we often purchase and get disappointed later on. And not only that, we must also develop the skills of creating the dome master. I think now it is possible. Even in our planetarium, we can do that. We have done some experiments with that. And it is not extensive, but it can be extensively done. And so for the hybrid planetarium, things are considered. I think that should be the way out, and we have to in some time or other we have to consider the financial issues as well, and unless and until we develop our own skill sets, we will run into trouble. And that is why we have to work in close collaboration with the planetarium companies who are developing such programs, surely, but we also have to look into the possibilities where we can collaborate with them to develop newer and better shows, which will aesthetically appear as much better shows, but will also be a little cheaper because they are indigenously made. Well,
yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So, anybody from the panel, you have to ask anything regarding whatever views he has expressed. Please come ahead and ask.
If once again I may step in, Manas, both points that you have mentioned, I take them. They are very, very correct. That in the sense that a planetarium, like you are mentioning about the mobile ones, being educational tools. So the kind of possibilities there that the speaker can actually be there with the audience and then take them through the walk. That point is very well taken. However, it is need not necessarily be confined to mobile ones. Ours, we use it that way all the time, in the sense of actually doing live shows, workshops, etc., interacting with people, keep all the lights on and first talk to the people who have come in and then go. So these, but this usage of a planetarium is a must. That point is very true. And but you were mentioning about how one dome, many uses, even that is possible. Like having a dome which is doing maybe school shows, maybe doing workshops, live shows, then public shows, maybe 3D shows, maybe just a dome theater, all of it. And as you said, in India, we can't have two different planetaria in one location, but one can do it. So that also is something which is possible. And
I'm
to the
not
last,
saying it is technically impossible. I'm not saying it is technically impossible. It is very much possible, and that is what we do.
yes.
But what I said, that ideally, if possible, I would prefer to have one dome for the dome shows, because its reflectivity criteria is completely
Yeah.
different. Its
Yeah.
projection requirements are completely different. And I would also like to have one planetarium where things are different
Yes.
and cited at a different level.
And your point about the content, actually, it is my fault that we have not ever invited all of the planetarium community to Delhi. That's because I never could get hold of the sufficient funding for this. But otherwise, if you had seen some of our recent shows, I think, I mean, you would accept that they are approaching professional quality with just minimal of resources. So that is, I mean, and therefore, I would like to put forward the case that, I mean, we of course should collaborate with professional vendors and others. We should collaborate amongst ourselves to develop shows which, like we could all use and so on. I think that is one thing we should definitely do.
I agree, but I never said it is not possible. I only tried to say that it is because of the resources only. It doesn't happen that way. I remember one show. I remember seeing this one in one planetarium outside, where it was on the discovery of Pluto. And the fun in it is the whole graphic was created maintaining a particular time in mind, a
Yes.
particular artistic style
Right,
being followed.
right.
That doesn't happen. We cut an image here, we paste it upon something else, and that looks lousy to me. I have seen the shows. Yes, I have seen. I really consider them good, but still, I would say it is not really the professional quality that we should achieve to tell people that yes, you can also use it. What we are doing is still at the level of cottage industry.
Jugaad.
I don't jugaad, somewhat jugaad, but that is what I'm saying. I
Yeah,
know.
we are masters of Jugaad.
Yes, I know it
Yeah.
is only.
Pandey sir, you have anything to say regarding all these discussions? Pandey sir, can you hear me?
Sure.
Yeah. Do you want to say something?
Well, not really. I just endorse all your views. That's it.
Okay. Okay. So that's it. Now we don't have. I think here, Mr. Pramod Galgali, are you here? I think he could not join today because of some other engagement he had. But anyway, one more point we would like to just, because all the panelists has nearly whoever is present has expressed their views. One more thing regarding script, because we spoke something about script and the developmental cycle of the show. I would put this question to Mr. Piyush Pandey, that sir, you have in 1994 you have developed a show called which I have also seen. I have seen both the shows actually. You have developed a show called Why Is Our Night Sky Dark? And again in late during 2000s you have developed the show Chandrayaan-1, India's Conquest on Moon. So what difference you felt in the two development? Can you speak regarding that?
Yeah, the first show was done in
1994.
1994. Again, that was in Calcutta.
Yeah.
What was the show name you said?
Why is the night sky dark?
So that had to be done with the help of the main projector and lots of slides. So we did that.
It was an automated show.
It was not an automated because in Birla Planetarium, only the auxiliary projectors could be automated.
Yeah, semi-automatic.
And the main projector had to be manually run. It was a, behemoth, really.
No, I
Can't
think
rise.
you developed something which partially that show was automated. What I remember.
The show was automated only to the extent that the star fields were manually operated and the slides were coming from. At that time, we had no video at that time. Video was added later. So, yeah, that show worked very well. It told us about why the night sky is dark. And
How it first making of that show? How it differs from the second one? The Chandrayaan-1 show.
Chandrayaan-1 show was very difficult in the sense that we had to do our own launch because Chandrayaan had not been launched. So no launch video was available. So with my team available at Mumbai, we created all the launch sequence. Then invited one Mr. B.R. Guruprasad from ISRO to see it. So he said it is perfect. And we launched the show. It was curtain raiser for Chandrayaan-1. All the way down to the mom banging on the surface of moon, making several bumps. So all that was done. But later what happened after a few months, one scientist, I don't remember the name, when he looked at our video, he said, at the time of firing, you fired the main rocket as well as you forgot to fire up the strap-ons. So only the main rocket was fired. The 4 strap-ons, though they were jettisoned, they were rejected later in the video, but actually they were never fired up. So he said, Baba, they fire up a little later and they are the ones which provide the initial thrust. Then we blamed it to that gentleman who had visited us before from ISRO.
So,
yeah.
So it is like that we should sit with the graphics developer because otherwise he will make such mistakes and ultimately it will get inside the product as such.
Yeah. So this was, this was a big goof up which only one person had noticed. Otherwise, the show was success. We had even shown in that another video sequence where India puts up in 2047 a lunar station of its own. So that was the clapping moment for the crowd. They all got up to welcome that. Well, this is just a story writer's license I used.
And one more question to all the panelists who are present here. Not a question actually, it is a comment. That see the style of show movement, that is show starting and its propagation throughout the 20 to 25 minutes period or 40 minutes period depending on the take of the visitors. See, sometimes for example in Calicut we have made some 33 shows, and in some of the shows what happened is that we started with some type of a situation and then the flashback about the situation, like a sky observation program, and from that we zoomed into some particular object and it went on. Or we started with, for example, on one show on moon, in English version we started with a short poetry, or in Malayalam version we put a song, and then we started, and then cultural aspect was taken part of it. So while development of an hybrid show of this type, so because show development is not only a technological gimmick, it should be also a creation of art like films. What the panel has to say about it?
Can I say something on this first, because I have to leave now for another session?
Yeah, please.
If it's okay. Yeah, you are absolutely right that cultural part has to be there. We have to add various interdisciplinary elements to kind of touch the whatever enjoyment of different people there. So in that sense, yes, and I think all of us do that. I generally do avoid though many of the mythologies because I find that people get confused sometimes by trying to think that they are the real. So if at all we add mythologies, we mention as such, but otherwise lot of cultural aspects. Like when I did the light pollution one, we had so many songs in that. Even Chandrayaan, so many moon songs have been added into that. So I do, but I did get once, although they have always been enjoyed. One student, she gave us the feedback. I always take a lot of feedback from people. So she says, "Oh, the songs were disturbing me when I'm trying to understand." So I will do a concept and then a song will play. But that was one. But many people have enjoyed the. But I mean, both sides are there. Perhaps I mean when we have these cultural things, we have to integrate them maybe more. But I do need to leave. I want to thank you so much for organizing this. I have to go for another session.
Thank you, ma'am, very much for joining us. And before you leave, I think Mr. Piyush Pandey sir.
Yeah. You wanted to say something in response. Please go ahead.
Go ahead. So we will conclude the program just now. Be with us for 5 more minutes. Yeah. So please, sir.
Do I have 1 minute time?
Yeah. You can speak.
Yeah, we were coming to this mythology and other things. We have found, in my entire career, I have found that using some local connection in your shows is always good and is appreciated by public, which I know Dr. Nirupma Raghavan had done, and Ratnashri is carrying that forward in Delhi. And in Allahabad, we made several shows, like one was on Kumbh Mela, one was on Makar Sankranti. And our Makar Sankranti script was also used by Dr. Nirupma Raghavan in Delhi. She modified it and made it more beautiful. So, taking Makar Sankranti as an example, we can tell a lot of things about the movement of the sun to public, about the equinox, solstice, particularly the winter solstice, and the precession of the equinoxes.
Yes, sir.
Such concepts.
Yeah.
It was around 22nd of December once upon a time, has come to this. Was there a festival at the time of 22nd December which was used to be celebrated all over again, all over the world? So things like that, the Christmas was same thing as Makar Sankranti. These are the several things which we have used in the past. So just make some local connection, and then you have many stories to tell from the sands of Kerala, right?
Yeah. We do say we have two great shows.
I made one planetarium show on Shakespeare and astronomy, full show.
Yeah. So anyway, sir, do you have anything else to add to this?
I don't have anything much to add to it. I only feel that the cultural elements and all are very much necessary, and what Pandey sir said is very much valid. That when people can connect their own area, connect their own knowledge, and connect their own stories to it, it works. But to me, the visual comes first. So to begin with, in any show, I feel that some sort of visual which connects to my area or which connects to something that I know of, it helps. And with the advent of the drone photography now, I think it is possible to take some good local photography and connect it that way.
Okay, we will conclude it. I thank the panel, especially Dr. V.S. Bhadat, Mr. Piyush Pandey, Dr. Ratnashri, Mr. Manas Bakshi, and in absentia, Mr. Pramod Galgali, who could not actually make it to this particular event. Though he was very enthusiastic, he said that he has prepared slide, and he spoke to me 2-3 times discussing about what all he can discuss. But anyway, he could not make it because of some meeting. He phoned me at around 3:45 or 4 o'clock that he could not, he has to leave. So thank all of you for joining this program, and I think we will have better discussion sometimes else also. And with this, I think we had a very fruitful discussion, and thank you for joining us, all of you.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you very much.
We conclude the program. Thank you.